team.
Hello, everyone. We're really glad you're here. My name is Marianne Hammond, and I'm the Education Coordinator for Autism, obviously for Children's Mercy. And I just wanted to tell you, we do just a little housekeeping to begin, and I wanted to tell you about some upcoming things. In February, on February 20th, which is actually a Tuesday, I'm not sure why I didn't put that on the slide, but we are going to do next steps after an autism diagnosis, and that is a training for newly diagnosed families or families that just want a refresher about, next step after a diagnosis. And that will be, it's a combination of a psychologist, Robin Jordan, our family resource coordinator, and myself. And that will be on February 20th, just like this evening will be, and so from 6 to 7:15. And then I wanted you really to get on your calendars our annual autism conference. It's a parent caregiver conference, but we have quite a few professionals in the field of serving our children that come as well. And that will be Monday, April 29th, so the very end of Autism Acceptance Month, and that will be from 8:30 to 4 p.m. There will be a nominal charge for it, probably like $20, because that's what we've done in the past, and that will just cover the cost of your lunch. The Kauffman Foundation is a beautiful conference center on the plaza, and it's just a lovely place to be with just a great setup for something like what we're going to offer you. The Thompson Center is going to join us with some speakers from the Thompson Center in Columbia, Missouri. And so that again will be Monday, April 29th. So stay tuned for more information about that and look for that on our website. I also wanted to tell you in the next slide, be sure, if you haven't already done it, be sure you've subscribed to our monthly newsletter. That's the link there. And what that just, all you have to do is put in your name. That's literally, it will take you, excuse me, 30 seconds to do that job. And it's really good because it talks about upcoming events. It always has a topic of interest. This month, it was sending your kiddo to summer camp, and then a lot of other information in it, including study information that's going on with people with autism and agencies that serve them. So you can check that out just by subscribing, and then it will also keep you informed of the trainings that we offer. And then, because when I have done evaluations in the past, and we'll have one at the end of tonight's training, I got a lot of things of, we wish that you would archive these trainings. Well, I'm going to ask my Will, our wonderful IT person, to see, actually we do archive all of these trainings. And so you can see these training modules. These are recorded trainings that have been on there for a while, but then also you'll see that our trainings that our previous events are on there as well. So all you have to do is simply click on one of these, and it goes right to YouTube and takes you into the training itself. It's free. It's, just easy as can be. And we get thousands of hits on these, on the web every month. So please know this one will also go on. It takes a couple weeks for us to get it on, and then it'll be available. So these are what I offer to you here, is that if you have family members or people at school that you feel need some extra skills or would like more information about a whole bunch of different topics, check it out and see if they could just do that, because they can just go on it themselves also, and it's free and it's a click away. So feel free to advertise these to whomever it might be helpful for in your life, and maybe just a good review for you on some things. So I also, tonight, if you haven't joined us before for a training like this, we do take questions, but we have you put them in the Q&A or in the chat, and we hold them till the end because it's very hard to interrupt a speaker, and we want to make sure we get through the content and then give you an opportunity for questions. So put them in as you think of them, as Allison goes on, and I promise you we'll get to them. We also will make available the PowerPoint for tonight because there is so much awesome information in this presentation. You'll want to have a copy of it. So you registered by your email, so I will send it out. So we're really happy you're here. And I'm going to let my rather new colleague that I'm thrilled is with us here at Children's Mercy Developmental and Behavior Autism Clinic, I'm going to let her tell about herself. So welcome, Allison.
Great. Thank you, Marianne. Welcome to Autism and a Spectrum of Safety, What Caregivers Need to Know. So I appreciate everyone joining us this evening for safety training as it relates to autism. You may be wondering who I am or how I'm qualified to teach you things about your children and safety. So my name is Allison Anderson again. I'm an education coordinator for the Children's Mercy Autism Center. And I have quite a diverse work background. So in 2002, I graduated from KU with an undergrad in social work, Rock Chalk. I then went into law enforcement for 15 straight years. Don't ask me, I was 21, but I did for 15 years until I could retire. And then I went back to social work, and I was a supervisor and an investigator for the Department for Children and Families, which is the state agency that investigates child abuse and neglect. So I was there until I came to Children's Mercy. I do remain a licensed social worker in both Kansas and Missouri. And I also have a master's certificate in autism spectrum disorders, again from KU. So Rock Chalk there. My biggest qualification, though, in my opinion, and probably in many of yours, is that I have two children with autism. I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old. They are both boys, so you will probably be hearing a lot about them. Little disclaimer here. This is an informational presentation and is not meant to replace tailored guidance provided by a qualified professional. Examples provided here may not be appropriate for your area of expertise. Views expressed are not necessarily those of Children's Mercy or UMKC. Now that we have that out of the way, we'll talk about just a little about our objectives, which is discussing common safety concerns for people with autism and giving you actionable steps as their caregiver to make your home safer. And I want everyone to understand that I know all of these recommendations are dependent on your child's ability. Not every child can do every step in all of these. I completely understand that. You may have to modify some things. Also, I will refer to autism and ASD like interchangeably, autism spectrum disorders. And also, I like to say our kids or my kids or whatever, because I figure everyone on here has a kid with autism, probably, or knows someone with autism. So our first concern, and really, in my opinion, and probably lots of people's, huge concern for the autism community is elopement or wandering. So elopement is like the technical term for it. And that is basically a child leaving a safe place for whatever reason, for any reason. And our kids are a lot more likely to elope or wander than typical kids. About 49%, so almost half of kids with autism will elope at some point, almost half. And that's compared to their siblings. They're typically developing siblings. So we know that this is not a parent issue. This isn't about good or bad parenting, right? This is about having kids who wander, who are curious, and just helping them be safer. 33% of kids that elope cannot communicate their name, address, or phone number. And the scariest one is 71% of children who do elope and are gone long enough to cause concern and die during an elopement. 71% of those deaths are caused by drowning. So If you didn't know, our kids love water in general. Even if your child's never had a propensity to go to water, that's where you should look for them first. This is the most common and the most dangerous is drowning during an elopement. And unfortunately, I have seen that in law enforcement. So other things we call elopement is, wandering, bolting, running. It's common, but it's very scary and dangerous when it's involving people with autism. And it can happen for all kinds of reasons, as you see. For curiosity, a lot of our kiddos don't have any fear of danger. Maybe there's something of interest, and maybe they're trying to get away from something that's bothering them, like loud noise. And wandering can happen anywhere, at home, in public, at school. Yes, I said at school. I know you're probably thinking, not at school. No, that would never happen. I'm here to tell you 20 years of law enforcement and investigating abuse and neglect. I have been on the phone or gotten calls about many, many kiddos that bolted from their school, and either the school resource officer or a teacher is chasing them down the street calling 911. So the biggest dangers associated with elopement is, well, the biggest one is drowning, frankly. Also, encountering strangers that may try to take advantage of the situation, getting struck by a vehicle, or exposure to elements. So like when it's really cold or really hot. And drowning can happen in minutes. In shallow water, make sure you know where all the water spots are near your home. So make sure you know where people's hot tubs are, swimming pools, creeks, ponds, lakes, anything with water, okay? Make sure that if you have a neighbor that has a pool or a hot tub or something like that, that you see how they secure it. Do they have a fence around it with a lock or an alarm? Does the hot tub have, the cover that can lock on top of it? So again, many individuals with autism are highly attracted to water. You can, and we will discuss this in more depth, but some steps to take are securing all exits to your home, notifying law enforcement you have a child with autism, teaching safety and coping mechanisms, and pursuing forms of communication if at all possible. And we all know communication is not just verbal. It can be sign language, it can be written, it can be on assistive technology, PECs, all kinds of stuff. Consider options to help identify your child during an emergency. And review the Big Red Safety Toolkit from the Autism Society of America for additional tools. I have right here attached it, so we will talk about that some more as well. Also, stay vigilant and don't ever underestimate your child. So many kiddos with autism are super intelligent and creative and are little Houdinis. Like that is actually a term that's used, is little Houdinis, because they're known to be able to disable standard safety devices, okay? So some options to help identify your loved one in case of an emergency. First, there's some medical alert jewelry, and you can see I just picked 3 out of hundreds, honestly, that I found online. Over here, we have the typical, the autism puzzle pieces and primary colors, and then you can see there's a ribbon that is an autism ribbon, and it says the child's name, it says autism, epilepsy, and then it has a phone number for both mom and dad on that one. And if you look here on the back plate right here, there is a place for an address as well. So that's great. It's not, exposed outside, but it's there. If you prefer to be a little more low-key than wearing this, that's fine. There's all kinds of options. Here's another one. This is also a medical ID bracelet. It does have the medical emergency logo on it. And this one says John Doe autism, may not respond to commands or questions. If lost, please call mom, and then a place for a phone number. Now, if you don't like either of those options or your child won't wear a bracelet, I just did one little example of a necklace. This is basically a dog tag necklace, for lack of a better term, but it says autism on the front and the puzzle pieces. And then on the back, you may be able to see right here, you can write contact information. So these are all inexpensive. I found them within seconds, and there's so many different varieties. Just check out what is available and decide what's best for your family and your child. So does anyone have children that will not wear jewelry because of sensory issues? I do. So for those, there's an option of wearing temporary tattoos or purchasing temporary tattoos to help identify your child, especially in public places, very crowded places like amusement parks, public pools or concerts, or just whatever events that you're going to. I wanted you to be able to see what this looks like on an actual child's skin. So here we have this is already on the child. It says, I have autism. If lost, please call. And then there's a phone number. It also has the Superman logo next to it, which makes it kind of cool, and the primary colors. Up here there's another autism symbol. And this one says, my name is Liam, autism, nonverbal, and mom, plus their phone number. So again, these are 2 out of hundreds and hundreds of examples. You don't have to have your child's name on it. You don't have to say they have autism, but I definitely recommend, if lost, call mom or whatever, or whomever is with the child. And these have come a long way. I'm going to age myself a little bit, but back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean like 2008 to 2010-ish, when my kids were little, we purchased some temporary tattoos for them, and they just said, I have autism. If I'm lost, please help me be found. And then we would write our phone number in pen or marker on our child's skin. You can imagine how well that went, right? But that was our only option at that time. Now you have hundreds of options, and they're customizable and inexpensive. If you have someone that will not wear any of this stuff, but you're in public, it's somewhere where shoes are going to be worn and your child will keep shoes on, there's the option of shoe tags. So they're right over here. You literally lace them into your child's shoelace, and then just lace up the shoelaces in the shoes like normal. This little bar will be like on the bottom of the shoelace. And this one says, Jaden, autistic, nonverbal, won't respond, may resist help, more info on the other shoe. Then the one on the other shoe says, please call Steve or Margie, and phone numbers, and more info on the other shoe. That way, if your child does wander and they're found, law enforcement or whomever is helping is not going to miss part of this, because they both say more info on the other shoe. And that's not super obvious as far as other, like the tattoos, I guess, or the bracelets or whatever, but I do think it is obvious enough that law enforcement or first responders will see it and recognize what it is. But you do want to be a little careful of how obviously you display the tattoos, especially if they're identifying your child as having autism or being nonverbal. Just remember that not everyone is a helper. So someone could come up and say, hey, Liam, I know your mom. Her name's such and such. If your name is here, on the temporary tattoo. But these are all really good options in case you do become separated at a public event. There's also options to identify your loved one in your home and in your vehicle. here we have a decal that says in case of emergency, and it has the medical alert. Occupant with special needs may resist help, may be unaware of danger, at risk of wandering, may not respond. That is great to put in the back windshield of your vehicle or on the window right next to where your child sits. Also, we have this option, seatbelt covers, and I purposely put this one on here because it's bright red, so it draws attention. It also has the medical alert sign. This one says autism nonverbal, may resist help, may not recognize danger, at risk of wandering. You can get these in every color of the rainbow. You can have them say whatever you want. You can buy them in more than packs of one. So if you have multiple vehicles or you have a babysitter or something like that, you can provide them with those as well. Or these are removable, so you can just loan them to them. These are all really good options because if you have like a medical emergency or you get into a car accident and get knocked out, you know, everyone's going to be coming to look and see how people are doing. They're going to see this as they approach, you know, the public or first responders. And they're going to recognize, okay, there is someone else in the vehicle that is awake. And I see they may resist help and they might be unaware of danger and at risk for wandering. So we're going to have to be real careful when we take them out of the car that they don't run into the street, for instance. Over here is a decal that you can put on in your home. This one says child with special needs lives here. Please be aware they may not speak, may not follow instructions, may act in an unexpected way, may wander off, and have no awareness of danger. So that is a really good thing to put next to your front door. If you have those little windows next to your front door, great. If you don't, just it's a decal, so put it on the closest window to the front door. That way, again, if emergency responders are coming to your home and you're either not home or incapacitated, they know that there's someone there with special needs that is a child that may not speak. Okay, so they know they have to lay eyes in the instance of, say, a fire all over the place because there's a child that might act unexpectedly. So for some, a tracking device might be an appropriate option. Luckily, these are rather inexpensive now. I will reference back in the day again. Back in the day, there were some companies that provided this type of service. They charged about $200–300 activation fee generally, and then a monitoring fee of like, I don't know, $30 or $40 a month, I believe. So a lot of families just really couldn't do that. That's really expensive. Lucky for us now, we have all these tracking devices available very inexpensively. So I put a few options up here. Over here we have Apple AirTags. Those are only compatible with Apple devices. Over here we have Tile, which is compatible with Apple and Androids. And over here, Newtail, which is also compatible with Apple and Androids. And again, there's hundreds and hundreds of different types of these different options, different ways they come or shapes or how you can attach them to stuff. As you can see, there's a lot of options here. Just do your research and figure out what your best option is. You can track your child on your phone if they have a tracker on them. So do your research, make sure that you're purchasing something that is going to work for you and your family. And remember to check, some of these have replaceable batteries, which is great. Some just when they run out of battery, you have to throw away and get a new one. So that's something you may want to keep in mind. All of these, all three of these options for one of them is $25 or less, every single one. You can find them cheaper or more expensive. You can purchase 2, 4, 8, 10 packs, whatever, at a discounted cost. So if you have a babysitter, significant other, you have grandparents, anybody that you may want to have a tracker for your child, you can order more than one. But, and I feel like everyone knows this, I'm still going to say it though, don't use tracking information as an indicator that your child's safe. The tracker just tells you where the tracker is at. So nothing is better than having your eyes physically on your child at all times. This is a backup. The tracking is a backup, okay? Your child could take off their backpack if that's where you have a tracker, or their shoes or whatever, and all you're going to know is where they last were. You're not going to know that they bolted from the neighbor's house and are taken off down the street. So again, eyes on is best. And what do you do if your loved one does elope? Has anybody ever seen the meme like, start panicking? Okay, don't panic. Try not to. You will a little bit, but try not to panic. Call 911 right away. Ask first responders to check water sources first. Water sources always first. Know where your water sources are and tell law enforcement when you call 911 and ask them to check water sources first. Tell first responders if your loved one is in their database. Provide a description of your loved one. Include when and where they were last seen, desired places they might go, whether or not they are verbal, will they respond to their name? All important things for first responders to know. Have a recent photo ready for officers that are responding. And if you use the Big Red Safety Toolkit, you'll notice that there is a sheet in there you can fill out ahead of time in case for law enforcement. You will also see there are safety plans in there, so you can get with your friends and neighbors and form safety plans for when this happens. If I say when, probably when, if it hasn't. And also it has social stories. So those are really good as well to teach your child, about eloping. And I'm sure no one would believe me or no, really. Every kid with autism, I'm not going to say every, but a lot elope at some point in their life. It does not matter who you are as a parent, okay? See, right here. That's my little guy. Circa 2010, I would say. He was about 5 or 6. And this is my own little elopement story. It happens to everybody, even law enforcement, even social workers, everybody. Okay, it's not an indicator of bad parenting. You have a curious child, it's fine. So when my kiddos were little, I knew that they could not unlock the deadbolts for our doors. So when I would go to take a shower to get ready for work, because my husband and I worked opposite shifts, I would lock all the deadbolts to every exit in the home, get the kids settled with their cartoon or whatever they're doing, go take a quick shower, come right back out and check on them. That is literally how it went. So I did that one day. Took a shower, came right back out to check on him, and oh my God, the front door is standing wide open, and my children are gone. And they're 5 and 2.5 and nonverbal. So if you've ever lost your child or they've ever hidden from you for any amount of time, you feel that like your heart drops into your stomach, right? It is the scariest thing ever. But some good things have come out of this because I realized that, hey, our kids are super smart and creative, and Nick here, my oldest, did know how to undo bolt locks. He knew how to open them just fine. He just waited for the best opportunity to not get caught opening them and leaving the home. So that is how we figured out he could open the bolt locks. So this picture is actually for a pamphlet because I started thinking, if this happened to me, and I work in law enforcement and I've seen it happen to other parents of kids with autism, is there something available to help the population and law enforcement? So it's not as traumatic, I guess, is what you could say. Yes, there is. It is called Take Me Home. It's a program that was developed in Pensacola, Florida. It is a voluntary database for people with special needs who may be at risk for wandering and who may not be able to give information about who they are or where they live. This can include people with autism, Down syndrome, other intellectual and developmental disabilities, Alzheimer's, dementia. It's for all ages, literally. The only requirements are that there's some type of special need or medical condition that makes you at risk for wandering, and that you may not be able to say who you are or where you live. The database is monitored by your local police department or sheriff's office, and only law enforcement has access to the database. So currently in Kansas, Take Me Home is available at Johnson County Sheriff's Office. That's where I implemented it probably 10 years or so ago, a little more. Topeka PD also has it. Paola Police Department in Kansas, they have Take Me Home, but they don't advertise it, and they don't have like a sign up on their website. You just have to call and tell them you want to sign up for the Take Me Home program. In Missouri, Lee Summit, Blue Springs Police Department, Smithville Police Department, Gladstone PD, they all have Take Me Home, their own versions of Take Me Home, but they're all called Take Me Home. And I've attached links to each of these so you can enroll your child. What it looks like basically is you fill out a sheet about your child. You include a recent picture. You give their descriptions. White male, brown hair, age 5, how height, weight, name, what their special need is, places they might go. If they have a favorite place they might go. A lot of kids do. There's also a spot, at least for Johnson County, to talk about things that will escalate your child and things that will help them calm down. Because clearly, if law enforcement is finding them, we don't want them to escalate, right? I think my oldest, he's still in the program, even though he's 18, because he doesn't know his address or phone number, and he won't learn it, or he can't learn it. So for him, it says something like loves Dr. Pepper and grapes or something like that. So an officer could be like, hey, oh, you're Nick. You like Dr. Pepper, right? You want to get a Dr. Pepper? I mean, yeah, he's going to go with you for a Dr. Pepper, but everyone doesn't need to know that, right? Also, my kiss says, don't restrain him. Don't put your hands on him or he will become aggressive and fight. So we obviously don't want that to happen. And this works in a couple different ways. Number one, it flags your home address. So, and this is all for Johnson County. I'm hoping the other departments do this the same way, but I can't promise. So you probably need to ask. In Johnson County, it flags your home address. So it will say Johnny, age such and such with autism, registered in Take Me Home program. In case there's a 911 call at your home, we will already know that before they're on the way. Also, say you realize, oh my gosh, Johnny's gone. I don't know where he's at. I don't see him outside. I call 911 right now, right? Don't wait, call 911 right now. Tell them, hey, my child's name is Johnny such and such. He's in the Take Me Home database, because then the officers can pull up his photo, his descriptions, all the information you provided, and they can start looking for Johnny. I'm just using a name, but Johnny, while they're on the way to your home. So usually when a missing child happens, a lot of police officers go. How great would it be to know that they already have your kiddo's picture and description, and they can start looking for him right away? Because otherwise it's a delay. If they come to your home, get the picture, get information, and then start having people look, that takes a long time. The other way it works is, say Johnny got out of the home while you were showering, okay, and went down the street to his favorite park. You haven't realized yet that he's gone. A citizen that's at the park realizes, this is a young child. they appear to have some special needs or something going on, they shouldn't be here alone. So citizen calls police, and this is a true story, not using names, of course, or anything, but is a true story. Citizen called police officer came out there and said, okay, I'm going to check the Take Me Home database within 3 miles of this park. And there are, say, 3 children registered within 3 miles of that area. He can pull up every child's picture and description. And boy, if Johnny's in there, he can see his picture and say, oh, here he is. Hi, Johnny. I'm going to call your mom or dad or whomever, because there are about 5 different places for emergency contacts. And the officer will call and say, hey, I found Johnny down here at such and such park. Did you know he was gone? Oh my gosh, no. Okay, no worries. We're bringing him home. Okay. So that has actually happened. Yes, both ways it has worked and still continues to work. Obviously, I feel pretty passionately about this. If your local police department or sheriff's office does not have this program, call them and ask them to research it and implement it in your city or your county. This is a free program for law enforcement, okay? Pensacola PD, whom I spoke to get this in Johnson County, they give the rights to use the logo up here. They give you the rights to use the name. They give you the database or the technology that they use to keep a track of every child and every person that's registered. They give that all to law enforcement for free, as long as they know that they are law enforcement officers and that it is going to be provided for free to the public. So it does take a determined parent or cop to implement this program. I am more than happy to help anybody who wants to implement this. I will put my contact information at the end of this PowerPoint, and you are welcome to give my name, phone number, and email address to law enforcement if they express any interest in the Take Me Home program. I would be so happy to walk them through it to get that in your community. If you do not have Take Me Home, you can call police dispatch and ask them to flag your home. So at least they will know, fire or police, when they come to your house. It will tell them there's someone with special needs, just like Take Me Home. It just doesn't have all the pictures and such. Okay, so how can you make your home more secure for preventing elopement? Well, after our little situation, this is what we located and purchased, the Guardian or Defender lock. There's all kinds of different things that it's called. It's about $15. The reason we purchased that is it is for kids with special needs, because again, they're super Houdinis and very creative, and they're going to get out if they want. But this will at least slow them down, if nothing else. Basically, there are 5 mechanisms to open this lock. It's super easy for adults. And I'm hoping you can see this, you pinch the lock from the top to the bottom, and you pull the lock towards the door and then back towards you, and then let go, and that unlocks the door and it'll be in the fully open position. You do the reverse to lock it again. We have these on all exterior exits to our home. We haven't had another elopement issue, at least from the home. We've had it in stores. We've had it at Silver Dollar City, everywhere, but not from home. And I'm not saying that lock will work for everyone. That has worked for us. I think my oldest just gave up on it, honestly. So we kind of got lucky. But again, there are many options. Over here is a great option because it's portable. So this is a portable door lock for home or travel. If you're going on vacation and staying in a hotel or an Airbnb, or if your child is, say, going to stay with grandma or your family while you go to Jamaica for a week, right? We wish. You can give them these things, or you can bring these things with you. The door lock does have a video explaining how to use it, and it is very simple. So you could bring that easily with you on vacation. What I really like about this though is it also comes with this door stopper, as you can see. And this door stopper takes batteries. You put it underneath the door of whatever room you are concerned your loved one might escape from. So if that is a hotel, yep, slide it right under your hotel door from the inside. And if anybody tries to open that door, either from the inside or outside, it will become dislodged and it will emit a high pitched alarm, very high pitched. It will wake you up. So I thought that was a really good, inexpensive, and very portable option. That seems like it would work really well. Also, I recommend that you purchase window and door alarms that let you know if your child or anybody enters or exits your home. The ones I found are very simple. We're not asking you to get like a Brinks alarm or anything like that. These you can buy on Amazon. The adhesive on the back peels off and you just stick it right to your door frame or on the window. And you can set most of these to either emit the high-pitched alarm when someone exits or enters your home, or just to do a little noise that kind of alerts you, like the beep, 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 like that, you know, if you have any of those. I would go with the alarm personally because I tend to just not pay attention to the beeping noise because doors are always opening and closing, right? So all of these are inexpensive options. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of options. They are rather inexpensive. Take a look, see what works best for you and your family. And as far as the window alarms and stuff, you can buy those. I found a pack of 10 on Amazon for $16. So really, they're inexpensive. And there's all different kinds. Okay. So body safety and autism. Unfortunately, you know, all kids are at risk for abuse, but maybe with autism, even more so. So what we need to do is we need to teach our kids accurate names for all their body parts. Don't use any nicknames or slang or cutesy names for private parts, okay? Teach your child what the words actually are. Use that terminology because God forbid someone does touch your child. You want them to be able to tell you and the police or whomever else is investigating what happened exactly and where and what body part, okay? You want them to have the proper terminology so they're not misunderstood. Talk to your child about difference between a safe or good touch or a bad and or unsafe touch. So what is a good touch? We'll say good touch, safe touch. It could be something that makes you really happy, makes you feel safe, it's something that is welcoming to you. If you ask your child to give an example of this, it could be high five from my friend, giving knuckles, you know, getting a hug from mom or dad, that kind of thing. Those are all things that make them feel safe and happy. Now, what's a bad or unsafe touch? Well, it's not something that's welcome. It doesn't make you happy. You don't feel safe and you don't want it to happen. So what could that be if you ask your child? It could be another child that kicked or pinched or hit them. Of course, those are unsafe touches, but it could also be someone that either asks your child to see their private parts and or touch them, or asks your child to view their own private parts or asks to be touched. So yes, that's a bad touch, not a good touch. It's unwelcome. You do not feel safe. And talk about who's allowed to see or touch private parts of your child. I know that sounds weird, but in our family, we have always said, of course, you can touch and see your own private parts because they're yours, they're on your body. Mom or dad might have to look or help if there's something medical going on, if we need to look at it first, or if you need help cleaning or something. Also, a doctor might have to look at it if there is a medical issue, right? Or even just for child checks. Of course, they check private parts. Um, yes, let them know that they are in charge of their body. Teach them body autonomy, okay? So this isn't just about sexual safety. It's about physical safety. It's about teaching boundaries and limits. And let your child know that it's okay if they don't want to be touched, that they say no. Even if it's an adult, even if it's a friend or family member or someone they know and love. They don't ever have to be touched in any way if they don't want to. Hugs, kisses, all of that. If they don't want it, tell them. They can say, no, thank you, not right now, whatever, and let them make those decisions about their own body. Parents, you're going to have to get behind this because it does not set well with a lot of, say, grandparents, for example, and they want their hugs and kisses, right? You want your child to know boundaries. So you're going to have to back them up on that and empower them to make decisions about their own body. Also, teach your children to take care of their own private parts so they don't rely on adults or older kids to help them clean or wipe, if at all possible. That just limits anybody's access to them, right? So, more body safety. This is a great little graphic. I have included the link at the end of the PowerPoint. 5 body safety rules every kid should know by age 5. Every kid, not just a kid with autism, every kid. I am the boss of my body. I have the right to say no if I don't like how my body's being treated. I don't have to hug, kiss, or be touched if I don't want to. Private parts are covered by a bathing suit and are kept out of view. We don't look, touch, or play games with each other's private parts. Again, use correct words for private parts. It's not funny or weird. Everyone has them. It's the name. And tell your child about secrets. No one should be asking them to keep a secret forever, especially if it makes them feel unsafe or scared or sad. Ask your child who 5 people are, adults, that they trust, that they can go to and tell if they ever feel scared, nervous, or anything, especially about body safety. If someone breaks their rules for their body, identify 5 people they can tell, adults. And let them know that even if you're too scared to tell it first, or if you were too scared, that is okay. It's not too late. You're not in trouble. You didn't do anything wrong. Okay. So educate them about secrets. What are good secrets? Well, surprise parties are a good secret. Those are okay secrets, right? Hey, don't tell grandma that we're having a surprise birthday party for her because, it's a surprise and it's happening next week. Or don't tell your brother what you got him for Christmas because it's a surprise. Those are okay secrets. They're not kept secret for long and they're not kept secret for bad reasons, basically. Talk about what bad secrets are, which I feel like is any secret that someone asks a child to keep, either from their parents or forever. No one should ever ask your child to keep a secret forever, especially not an adult. Okay. So, all secrets aren't bad, but they should never have to keep one forever, especially if it makes them feel sad or upset. And as a parent, trust your instincts. If you feel uneasy about leaving your kiddo with someone, do not leave them there. Trust your gut. It's there for a reason, that instinct. Listen to your child. If they disclose physical or sexual abuse, believe them, be their advocate, okay? I cannot stress how much and how important it is that your child knows that you are going to believe them if they are bad touched. I've seen it time and time again. In my time investigating child abuse and neglect, sometimes kids are scared to tell because they don't think they're going to be believed. Maybe they have told before and they weren't believed. So believe, 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 believe your child. It is the most important thing. We'll talk about some common household and environmental concerns now. As you can see, these are all important. These are important for every kid, not just kids with autism, and that goes for all the safety in this. Firearms, of course, are concerns. Alcohol, marijuana, other drugs, prescription pills, and over-the-counter medication, cleaning supplies under the sink cabinet. That's, 4 things, and I would challenge anybody that's listening to say they don't have any of those items in their house, okay? Because frankly, I have every single one of those. I have firearms in my home. I'm a retired cop. My husband's a current cop. Of course we have firearms. We have alcohol in our home. My husband's a whiskey connoisseur. I think it tastes like lighter fluid, but we have it in our home. We have prescription medications, we have over-the-counter medications, of course, and yeah, we have cleaning supplies. Everybody has to clean their house, right? And if you, let's say you don't have any of these in your home, what about your neighbor? What about your friend, your family, babysitter, people that you trust with your child and that you trust in people's homes? Do they have any of these things? Do you know? Do you know how they're stored, right? We're also going to talk about natural disasters like tornadoes and fire. That might not be so natural, but tornadoes and fire. And kiddos with autism might need reteaching on these things. So they might need to be taught it multiple times. You may need to use social stories and practice to teach them how to react in an emergency. You can see what all the hazards have in common. They can all be deadly and cause serious harm. Even if you don't have them, your neighbors might. Many can be avoided with proper safety precautions, and you can make your home and environment safer by talking to your children about what to do. So for tornado safety, for instance, tell your child, talk about where do you go if there's a tornado warning? Do you go to the basement? Do you have a basement? Do you go to the bathroom, the bathtub? Where? Where is the safe place to go during a tornado warning? And what does a tornado warning sound like? If they've never heard, they don't know. You can always take them out on the first Wednesday of every month and listen to those sirens be tested, or you can play a recording of a tornado siren, whatever you need to do. Tell your child how they're going to know when it's safe to come out of their safe spot, whether that's the basement or wherever you've determined. And teach them never ever to go outside during a tornado watch or warning. Trust me, I know. Everyone is not from the Midwest here. I was born and raised my whole life in Kansas. We love a good storm rolling in, even if it's a tornado warning. It's a common thing for Midwesterners to be standing on a porch while there's tornado sirens going off, right? While you're an adult, you can make that decision for yourself, but your child needs help being safe. So make sure that you teach them how to be safe and you follow the same safety rules. Be a good role model for your child. Practice good safety skills and make sure you're not doing any of these things. And then you're going to have to practice this, not just once, but probably multiple times. And I recommend doing drills. Set off a tornado siren. See how your children react. And then you know maybe where you need to go back and do some reteaching, right? Fire. So, parents, you are in charge of making sure that you have working smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors on every floor of your home, and that you have fire extinguishers, preferably on every floor at least as well. Teach your child to get out of the house in event of a fire. Do not grab anything, just get out. Teach your child more than one escape route. So if this way is blocked because of fire or whatever, you can go this way or this way. Teach them multiple ways to get out. Teach them where to go once they get outside and they're out of harm's way. Are you going to meet up across the street in a neighbor's driveway? Is there a next door neighbor that you can go to? Where do you go, right? Also, what do smoke detector alarms and carbon monoxide detector alarms sound like. If your child's never heard one, they may not know. So you're going to want to demonstrate what those sound like for them. And that's also a good way to test and make sure your batteries are working. Teach your child how to call 911 if possible, and make sure they know their home address if possible, but also that they know not to call 911 until they're somewhere safe, whatever your safe place is. And this is just something I found because, frankly, adults even, freak out and panic in small fire situations. So even if you know how to use a fire extinguisher, you might forget. This would be a great little sign to put next to all the fire extinguishers, just to remind yourself. And if your child can read, they can follow the directions if it's a small fire. Okay, so additionally, again, teach your children never to play with matches or lit candles. Explain why fire is dangerous. We already talked about the fire extinguishers. Talk about what firemen look like when they come to a fire. Because I'm guessing many of us have met this fireman, right? We took our kid down to the fire station or they went for school and they met a smiling, kind fireman. Everyone loves firemen. They're in their nice, clean uniform, as you can see, leaning up against a fire truck. Pretty sure we've all met that fireman, right? And that's great that you're taking your kids to meet firemen. But what happens when there is a fire? And this is what they see, right? This is scary for kids. Explain to your kiddos, hey, firemen look both ways. When they have to go to a fire or an emergency, they wear helmets because debris can fall on their head. They wear oxygen masks sometimes. They might have even a pack for oxygen on their back. They're definitely going to be wearing all this turnout gear because it is fire resistant. And they might be carrying what looks like a weapon. It could be an axe. It could be something to pry the door open. That's because they may have to do that to get to you to save you. So make sure your child realizes that this is a safe person in an unsafe environment, okay? If there's a fire, if there's an emergency, these are safe people. They look scary, but they're not. Mostly. No, I'm just kidding. So also, there are community events that you can take your child to and meet firemen, law enforcement, paramedics, everybody, see their vehicles and see what they look like both in and out of gear, because they will do demonstrations where the firemen wear all their gear and put out a small fire and such. So you can actually take your child to see those. Firearm safety. Well, if you don't own a firearm, you don't need to worry about it, right? Actually, did you know that about a third of United States homes with children also have guns? An estimated 4.6 million children live in a home with an unlocked and loaded gun or guns. And firearms are the leading cause of death for U.S. children and teens under age 18. So studies do show that children are naturally curious, even about firearms they've been warned not to touch. Kids are safer when firearms are in a lockbox or safe and unloaded with ammunition locked away separately. Of course, they're safest when firearms are stored outside of the home. So parents, if you do have firearms, they should always be locked and unloaded with the ammunition stored separately. Teach your child never ever to touch a firearm, but don't expect that they won't actually touch it, because there are so many studies that kids will still pick up a firearm, even if they've been taught repeatedly. Typical kids, kids with autism, all kids. Teach them that if they see a gun or a friend shows them one, they should immediately leave and get an adult. And talk to your friends, family, and neighbors. Ask if they have firearms. Ask how they store them, okay? And don't underestimate your kiddo. Again, smart, naturally curious. If you have guns in the home, I can pretty much guarantee you they already know where they're stored. So don't ever assume they'll leave a firearm alone. And here are a few examples of locks or safes that you can purchase. Right here we have the standard firearm gun lock that basically doesn't allow the firearm to be loaded or the trigger pulled because of this little piece going through it. And then it has a lock to unlock, so you have a key. Most hospitals, police stations, fire departments give these out for free, no questions asked. I know Children's Mercy does. I've given out many of them. So there is no excuse to not have a lock on your gun because they're free. There are also options like this, which is a biometric gun safe. Biometric safes are basically, they use the individual biology of the owner of the safe to recognize either like a fingerprint, retinal scan or eye scan or voice recognition to open. So you can store like 2 thumbprints in there if you want, and not your child's. So your child can't ever open it with a thumbprint. It's great. These are much less expensive than they were at one point. This right here is what I have at home, basically. It does the job. It has a little key code entry system here. Yes, we store our firearms in a safe, unlocked, with them locked, I'm sorry, with ammunition removed, stored separate, locked separate, firearms obviously unloaded with the slide locked back in the safe, okay? That's how we store our firearms, and we do not ever allow our children into our closet when we are either getting out or putting away firearms, because that's where the safe is, and we don't want them to watch the numbers that we punch into the safe, because they will. Quick little story. My now 18-year-old was getting into his brother's room all the time, just going in and helping himself to whatever snacks or toys or anything he wanted from his brother. So we finally bought him a lock that has the key code entry. Great, right? That solves it. We set a key code for my younger son that only he and me and my husband knew. My oldest son figured it out probably within 2 days. We changed it. He figured it out again. We changed it. Now, at this point, my 15-year-old's forgetting what it is. We're forgetting what it is. And somehow my 18-year-old manages to figure out a universal code to get it unlocked. So, yeah, we can't keep him out of his brother's room. We're going to have to resort to getting a little biometric thumbprint lock on his door. Not kidding. Again, and don't ever hide firearms, like loaded firearms, for easy access, for protection, because really the chances are very, very high that someone in your home is going to find that easily accessible loaded gun, that you're never going to use it for self-protection. And that could spell disaster if your child finds it, right? Or another child. God forbid, right? For household safety and chemicals, again, does anybody have a sink that looks like this? Yeah, probably a lot of us do. It is best to store all chemicals in a locked cabinet. Now, I put this example of a lock, knowing that my son could bust it open in 20 seconds. And probably so could a lot of our kids, but there are many options for locks. So just, again, do your research, find what works best for you. Don't think that kids are not going to try, cleaning fluid and remember there's chemicals in your garage, okay? Antifreeze tastes sweet. Have you looked at a bottle of Windex or like Mop and Glow lately? They're purple, they're pink, they're blue, they're green, they're all these pretty colors, just like Kool-Aid. Of course, your child might try it. Have Poison Control's phone number at the ready in a very identifiable space, like on your refrigerator. Here is Poison Control's 1-800 number if you need it. You can also chat with them in text, I believe. but make sure you have that number available just in case. And then, of course, prescription medications and over-the-counter meds. Those should be going in a lockbox. Here's a couple of examples, one that just has a key entry and one that has a code entry. If you cannot or will not lock up all your medications, please at least lock up things that are controlled substances. So ADHD meds that are like amphetamines, sleeping medication, narcotics, opiates, that kind of stuff. Those can really hurt our kids. Honestly, a lot of stuff can really hurt kids. And don't assume that they're not going to get that open just because it's child proof, right? It's more like child resistant. For me, it's more of a, oh, that gives me more time to catch my child doing what they're not supposed to be doing, right? Rather than preventing them from doing it. So also, many states have legalized medical and or recreational marijuana, including Missouri. So marijuana is legal in Missouri, all types of marijuana. If you are looking at this, can you tell what's marijuana, what is an edible, and what isn't? They look like things your child loves and knows already and enjoys. Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Oreos, Rice Krispie Treats, Starburst gummies, M&Ms. Is your child gonna look, oh, these Flamin' Hot Cheetos have this little thing right here that shows a marijuana leaf and says California because that's how it's required by their state law to be identified? No. Are they going to look over here and say, oh, THC, how many milligrams of THC is in here? Absolutely not. Nope. They're just going to say, oh, yum, I like this. I'm going to eat it. Even Oreos, these say Stonio. They say Dubisco instead of Nabisco up here. The gummies say Star Buds instead of Starburst. They might be a tiny bit different, but frankly, if your kid or even you yourself is just hungry and not paying attention, I mean, they're going to eat it. This is an example of what is offered in a dispensary. So if you've never been in one, now you know. They sell popcorn. They sell these little cotton candy tubs, which I also see sold at Target for a few bucks for special occasions. Scary because it looks almost just like this, except it's not called Canishock. Chocolate bars, cookies. Up here we see lollipops, all things your kids love. If you have any THC, not just edibles, anything, please store it in a lockbox or safe. Keep it out of view of your child. Don't let your child see you using it because, again, they're going to think that's okay when you really don't want to see a very high small child, trust me. I actually got a call just like that at DCF where kiddo found mom's chocolate bar and ate the entire thing. I think it was 100 milligrams, which is an insane amount of THC for a 4-year-old to consume. And he was having some issues, okay? I mean, he was okay, but it'll happen. He's not going to look and see, oh, there's a marijuana leaf on there, so I can't eat it. He just ate it, right? And was extremely high for a long time. And in that case, it actually was not his mother's fault. She had actually done what she needed to do, and it was just other situations that kind of made the perfect storm. So make sure you lock up all your THC. Takeaways, these are things that you should remember if you take nothing else away from this, okay? We're going to send out the PowerPoint, so I won't read through all of them, but I say the most important is that drowning is the #1 leading cause of death in kids with autism under age 14. Kids with autism elope, and they're highly attracted to water. So all these other things as well, those are, I feel like, the top 3. Here are some resources that I have referenced throughout this. And here is my contact information as promised. My phone number here, my email address and name. You are more than welcome to pass it on to any law enforcement officer that is interested in pursuing Take Me Home. I'm happy to help. Thanks for sitting through all of this. I think we are going to take questions now.
Thank you, Allison. So much good information. My goodness, it does make you want to just do every single thing if you haven't already done it. We will send the PowerPoint, as she mentioned, and mostly just comments about the PowerPoint, but there was one person that said, I recommend using deadbolt locks that require keys to lock on the inside of the front door, or add a chain lock that requires a key. And I thought that was a good idea. So,
except that you have to find the key to exit your home.
Well, that's true.
In an emergency, that can slow you down.
That can
just
slow
to
you
keep
down.
in
That's
mind.
true. Yep,
Yeah,
that's true. So if you all would take a moment to use this QR code and fill out our brief evaluation, that would be great, because that helps us in so many ways. I also wanted to say again that we'll send out the PowerPoint. If there's anything else that you have questions on, Allison did provide her email at the end of it, and you certainly can send one to me. There was one more thing. Oh, one person said, I would love more information on how to get Take Me Home started in my area. So Allison, I would think they would just connect with you on that.
Yeah, or go straight to law enforcement in your area and tell them about it and ask if they're interested. Then hook them up with me. Yeah.
Right. Yep, that would be great. So I think that's an excellent idea. I don't see any other right now. If I'll give you all a minute to again try and get a question in. Allison, I just want to say thank you so much for your expertise and your sharing. It's all scary stuff, but it's a lot less scary if we know how to prevent it, and that we go ahead and take the steps as parents. I too have a kiddo that, even though she might be fairly low cognitively, she has seemed to, I mean, there was a period of time where I felt like the poison hotline was like my own personal, red phone that I had going back and forth. And they were so nice. And, a couple times they told me, yes, you need to take her to the hospital. But they would also say, no, this is what you can do, if she shows signs of, because you never know exactly how much they've ingested. She would drink things. And so just know, Allison said, to have poison control sticker on your refrigerator or somewhere in a very, place where you'll see it and can use it. Because when that happens, you also do get very panicked, because, it can be bad. So it's very, very good to make sure you have those things close at hand, just like the fire safety things and other things like that. So a lot to think about and a lot to implement. And my gosh, how the web has made this all easier as far as options and things you can do. I know one time when we were home in Iowa visiting my parents, we locked Kaylee's door, my daughter's door, from the hall side, and we've let everyone know, first responders know, that where her bedroom is in our house, because she would just wander, around our house during the night. But we went home one time just to see my parents in Iowa. She was in a different bedroom, and of course there's no lock on the door. And Dan and I found her downstairs. She had emptied the refrigerator of almost every single content that was in it, but she had first taken a drink of everything, so she could undo almost any lid to anything. I mean, she had stuff all over the front of her. My parents had just opened this brand new remodeled kitchen, and on the white Corian countertop, she had then taken it and put it on there, but spilled half the stuff. I mean, it was
that sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, and because I got downstairs and I I said to Dan, my husband, I'm like, I'll get her. And I went down and I like went flying back up the steps. And I'm like, I need help. And he's like, okay. And so it took us a while. She didn't really ruin anything, but the worst thing that she got out was the local priest loved vermouth. And so we had vermouth in there. So she took a few swigs of vermouth at, 7:30 in the morning, but we still laugh about it to this day, but we did have a bit of panic trying to figure out what she had actually ingested. So
it's always funny later.
It's always funny later, but it is very exciting at the time. So thanks again. And I want to thank Will so much for helping out. And please do the evaluation. That helps us in so many ways. And we are still kind of finalizing our topics for the caregiver conference, and share that information with others of when that is. That would be really helpful to us as well. So that's what we'll leave you with this evening, right on time at 7:15. And for those that it would be right for, we'll look forward to seeing you next month at Next Step After an Autism Diagnosis. Thanks again, Allison, and thank you, Will. We appreciate you both.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Okay, see you next time.
Bye-bye.